Is where the real strength of the Indian society and Indian civilization comes.
Another question from the audience. It is said that the next war is not going to be fought on the ground, but in cyberspace. We would like to know, in such a situation, what is our national critical infrastructure protection plan to secure our federal assets?
Well, I think you're very right. I totally agree that cyberspace is going to be the new frontier of this thing, because in this, not only the states, but even the private actors have become very, very active. What are our plans for dealing with it? I think I cannot tell it in such a short time, but we are totally seized of it. And we are also aware that we have got a lot of advantages to our side. We have got a huge experience, scientific capabilities, and the young boys who are very good at that work. We are engaging and we are working on it very, very hard. And at different levels, after the cyber war is fought at different levels. One of the problems that we have got is that technologically we have lost out on certain areas where the root servers are all in the control of countries, not under our control. And there are a lot of these control systems which are with the West, mainly with the United States. They are helpful to us in some areas, but they are not necessarily always helpful, and particularly in the corporate world. There are corporations that are very powerful and they use it, and I don't want to name them, but they have become very, very powerful. Now, what would be our counter this thing of it, without completely denying to our people the advantages of the total cyberspace connectivity? The cyberspace connectivity is also a powerful engine for growth, development, and communication with the people. But I can assure you that at least for the last 6 months that I know, this has been one of the primary areas of national focus. And we have done a lot. We have got best of the scientists, we have got best of this thing for developing the right systems and the right infrastructure. We have had certain bad experiences in the sense that some of our sites have been at times this thing that our adversaries have tried to attack them, this thing like that. But the protection that we have been able to provide is, I think, much far outweighs that.
We don't have much time left. Last question. You said in an earlier speech that if we have similar democracies in a region, that could be one of the very surest drivers of India's security. And today you've spoken about India's soft power in dealing with China. Can you elaborate on this a little more? Does this mean also at some point in time that we will support democracy in Pakistan and find ways and means of doing it?
Well, democracy as an ideology, our supporting it is something that we had been supporting right from the time that we got independence. But the internal affairs of any country, what sort of government and what sort of this thing they should have at the executive level, at the executionable level, is their prerogative. And I don't think that India should become a champion of telling that, well, how to bring and what is democratic and what is not. Because everybody claims itself to that we are totally democratic, when Pakistan thinks that we are totally democratic. But the more important point is that the biggest help to cause of democracy in the region, if you think that it makes the region more secure and stable, is that India becomes a success story. If India, with all its inequalities, if India with all its depravities, when it got independence, we have got a very, very small percentage of people who really understood democracy, who really understood the power of their vote, that is, we have empowered them. If we are able to grow at a fast rate, if we are able to socially, politically, economically empower people and make it a model of success, I think that will be the biggest service to the democracy, and that will have large distinct effect. For example, in Bangladesh, we thought that well, the democracy had started becoming this thing and it was going towards the little radical path, a little this move of the army was also getting active at some points of time in varying degrees. But now it has come on a this thing like that, and there is an increasing public awareness. And they all quote that, see India. India has been able to make a very spectacular progress. If democracy can work there, why can't it work in other countries? Myanmar, which was, we know that well, has a military junta from 1962 after Navin took over. has this thing that. But now, gradually, the democratic movement has become stronger. As it has become stronger, its proximity, our look east policy will become much easier for us with the democratic government in Myanmar. Well, like that. Well, I don't want to go into each country's those things, but I think a democracy in our district, in the long run. Well, again, as I said, these factors are mitigating factors and not eliminating factors. It is not that they will completely eliminate the threats or the problems. They will create new set of problems, but those new set of problems can be addressed through negotiations, through creating the vested interest, by creating the interdependence on each other. But in the non-democratic regimes, it becomes much more difficult to engage them effectively.
Well, I think this board is flashing time's up, time up, time up. So I think we have to call this session to a close. I'll invite all of you to give a big hand to the National Security Advisor. And thank you very much for all your questions. And of course, all of them couldn't be answered, but there it is. We didn't have as much time as we might have wanted. Thank you.
And perhaps I might invite up the Executive Director of HT Media, Mr. Benoy Roy Chaudhary, to come up as well, please.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. And ladies and gents, we've got the final session coming up, fascinating one. I would ask you to just take your seats and stay focused as we get ready for this final session of the Hindustan Times Leadership Summit. That session is just about to start. So please take your seats and we'll get started with this session.